What's up, guys? In this video we're going to be writing a ton of boilerplate code and getting this app all set up so we can basically start coding our different pages and our different views. So I'm just going to go based off of my template that I use for setting up a React Redux application with redux-saga, and then go from there. So I'm basically just going to be copy and pasting because a lot of this stuff is very just set up code and not very interesting. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a store.js in our source folder, and I'm literally just going to copy and paste. Okay, and I'll just real quick go through what each one of these guys does. So we're getting this from Redux, which just we're creating the Redux store. We don't need that, don't need that. We're going to be hooking it up with redux-saga, which we will need. So we're basically connecting redux-saga and Redux with this, and then we're getting our sagas, which we're getting from modules. A little different naming schema I'm going to use in this application than in this one. And then we have our root reducer, which we're also going to get from modules. So we're going to get root saga and root reducer, both from modules. And this is for Redux. And then saga middleware we're just creating, and then we're creating this store and we're applying our saga middleware and we're adding our root reducer, and then we just run root saga. Oh, not root sage, root saga. There we go. Oops. There we go. All right, and we don't need history. So we just export the store, and this looks good for setting up our store. Let's see. So next we'll set up our root reducer. So I'm going to create a modules folder, and inside of modules an index.js. And this is, we're going to add more than just this, but for now we don't need router. And we're going to export not default, because we're not just going to export the root reducer, we're also going to export the root saga. So to do that, we copy this import. We don't need this. We're going to need fork. I think that's about it. Copy that. Root saga. And then from here we're going to fork all the sagas. For now, there's no sagas we need to fork, but as we get them, we will be forking them off. So here we are setting up Redux with this combine reducer. This is where we're going to add our reducers, and right here is where we're going to add our sagas when we actually create them. Okay. And then just so I remember how this boilerplate stuff works, when we actually add this later, I'm just going to create a dummy module. I'll call it user, which we actually will be creating later, and then there put sagas. So just to show you kind of how this would work, you can paste that in down here. So this is, we don't need fork. So right here is saga stuff, and we will export this function. So I have this user sagas inside of modules, which will have like some sagas that the user will relate to the user. And then what we'll do is we'll import them here, and then we will, fork them off. Okay. And now we're going to be connecting to a FeathersJS server, so we need to set up the FeathersJS client, which looks something like this. And I'm actually going to do this inside here as well, because basically our Redux sagas are going to use them So we can copy this stuff. A lot of this stuff we're not going to use though. I'm just going to get out of here for a second because we're going to be in here for a little bit. So stuff we're not going to use. We're not using socket.io for this. Well, I guess we're eventually going to use socket.io, so I guess I should keep it for now. Then we're going to be using the Feathers client. We're going to use hooks. Feathers, socket.io, that's fine, I guess. Local storage we don't need. Authentication. That looks good. And then we're also going to be using REST, so we need to import that. So import to REST. So as you can see, a lot of boilerplate that we're doing here, and we'll use super agent for our making REST requests. Don't need this app authenticate stuff right now. So we have Feathers. We're using socket.io. Get rid of view, and then copy that. And then the URL to our FeathersJS server is localhost 3030. So now we have socket.io set up. We're using REST, hooks, and authentication. So that sets up FeathersJS nicely. And then lastly, I want to set up some routes for the application. So routes. So this is basically the different pages in my application. And we can just copy this. And for this, we're going to be using the react-native-router-flux library. This is a really nice one. I really like using it. And so we are just going to import those. This is going to be routes, export, and we don't even export default. We can just make it a function. Delete that return. And then for now, we'll just create one component. Import, we'll call it login from, and we'll import that right here. So we'll create this component next, and we'll just create a dummy one. So key login, component login, and hide navbar. I don't like the little title bar that it adds, so we can hide it. And that looks good. And we can close that because we don't need this anymore. And so we'll create login.js. And then for now, we'll just import React. Actually, we're going to move close that. So my current index.js, I'm just going to move that to be my login.js. So routes / login. So now my login, copy may overwrite. Let's continue, yes. And okay, hold on. I kind of messed stuff up because yeah, okay, it didn't work because I had my current window open. So copy routes / login. Cool. Okay, why is this not working? Is it because I think it's because I already have a login that it's getting messed up. Okay. Okay, so I no longer have a login. So now we can copy you to be route/login. Okay, there we go. Now this is going to be like our main application. And so, and we don't need any of this stuff. We just need React. And we'll say export default and import store from store and import provider from React Redux. Now in our application here, we can wrap the whole thing in provider, store. So that connects our React application with Redux. And then what was the last thing that we need to do? Oh yeah, my routes. From routes. Okay, so this is basically all the boilerplate code we need for now. This is looking good. We just need to now install all of these packages that we just added. So React Redux was one of them. So yarn add React Redux. Redux is another. Redux-saga. Super agent. Let's see what else. React-native-router-flux. React-native-router-flux. Got Redux. Socket.io client. Feathers. We need to install Feathers. Do we need to install Feathers or Feathers client? I think we need to just install Feathers. And then Feathers REST, Feathers Socket.io, and Feathers authentication client. So Feathers authentication client, Feathers REST. Is there another one? Feathers REST, Feathers authentication client, Feathers Socket.io, Feathers Socket.io. Okay, install all of those. Let those finish installing. Oh, Feathers hooks too. Forgot one. Okay, so when that's done, we'll also install Feathers hooks, and then I'm just gonna refresh my yarn add Feathers hooks. Hooks or hooks? Yeah, hooks. Oops. And then I'm just going to refresh this application and see if it just works, or if we get any errors, because we might get some errors for what's it called, from forgetting to install library or something. And let's actually const host, abstract that out real quick. Host, because the socket.io and the rest will be the same. Alright, that's done. Refresh. Let that build. And when that builds, hopefully we should see the same view, because we just copied that. Okay, we have an unexpected token and routes index. That should just be a parenthesis, or yeah, parenthesis. Only one default client provider can be configured. Only one default client provider can be configured. I wonder what it's talking about. I'm assuming it doesn't. Oh, yarn add react redux. Don't think I installed that one. I might have, but I don't think I did. Dot finish. Refresh. And we'll see if that works. Nope. So I must have installed it. Provider, store, and then routes. I mean, I assume if I get rid of that, it'll work. I'm thinking that maybe, oh, it still didn't do anything. Okay, so it's not this provider that's messing stuff up. I could totally get rid of that and it's fine. Okay, let's hunt down this error. This looks okay to me. Oh yeah, I was gonna export that, not default. And then I was gonna, yeah, we don't have to export those right now. Is that it? Nope. So it could be in our store. Let's just export default. Default state. Let's clean. Let's just. We don't need all these variables here. From modules, that looks good. redux-saga, that looks good. Apply middleware. This is pretty simple. I'm guessing it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't like this sagas. Oopsie daisy. Just for the heck of it, let's try importing it and see if this changes anything. So export something saga, import something saga from user/sagas. And now we're going to fork sagas. Not sagas, something sagas. Syntax error and modules index. Line 17. It should not have a semicolon. Only one default store can be provided. Still giving me the error. Alright. Oh. If I get rid of that. Store does not have a valid reducer. Make sure the argument passed to an object whose values are reducers. Yeah. Okay, so the problem was that we had two socket.io and rest at the same time. And it's only liking having one of them. So for now, what we'll do is we will just oh, I remember what I did last time. Is I did socket.io app, and then I also did a REST app. Okay, so we do REST here, we do socket.io here. And so we can get rid of all that jazz. And then when we do that, we now get a new error with combined reducers. And I think it's just because we have no reducers. So I can put a dummy one in. And you can return state. See if that does anything. Can't find variable react. That's fun. So that could be a weird problem. So knowing that it was import provider from React Redux. Knowing it was that, we can add the provider back. Oh. I have no idea why would we be getting that. Oh, I think, does it give us anything over here? Nope. My only thought is to kill it, do react native run iOS, and just restart it. Oh, okay, let me start up my server. Should have that just running in the background the whole time. Oh, okay. Should have import React from React here. Maybe that was it, because we're doing, so whenever you have JSX, oops, sorry, which is these React tags, you need to have React up here. Okay, so we have sagas. This is just garbage sagas. We're going to replace with other stuff. We got a route, our login page, our store. We have an index one that wraps the whole application in our routes. And then we have our index route, which we're going to add basically all our pages to. No bundle URL present. Make sure you're running include in your application bundle. Oops. Looks like it should be here. I wonder if I can try my Android emulator real quick. So for that I use Genymotion. I just want to make sure this is actually working. Sorry, this is not working. I'm getting some weird errors now. So Genymotion, start up my emulator. Let that boot up, and then I can do React Native run Android. That start up. Okay, so after this all gets sorted out and resolved, I think we're going to work on a login/signup page. And then after that, you can authorize, it'll let you log in, and basically you can test against authorized users, which will be nice. And then we can start actually creating auctions, do an auction page after that. Let's see how our compile is doing though. Looks like it's compiling okay so far. Not getting any errors. The packager's been acting kind of weird. If the packager doesn't work, also a trick that I've done sometimes is if this is getting problems, you can actually just, in your terminal, do npm start. You'll see I opened up another tab in terminal, but it's lagging right here. I wanted to show you, I was going to show you guys, oh here we go, just in your package.json, you'll see if you do npm start, it'll actually start up, this is the packager right here in your terminal. So that's another way you can do it, and that's what I'll try next if building it on Android doesn't do anything. Looks like it's just about done. It was at 97%. Let that finish up. And got our server running there, so we can connect. I'm curious why we can't have both a socket IO and a REST connection though. Okay, now it's building, that's nice. I also don't think we need authentication on socket IO, so I'm going to remove that, because you're really only going to authorize using the REST app. not socket.io. Okay. 52%. You can also do, if you guys aren't aware of Genymotion, I just find it's a faster Android emulator, but you can also use Android Studio's emulator to do Android. Or a lot of times I actually have an Android device, a phone, and I'll actually just plug in my USB to test my React Native apps. Okay. Finally, alright, so we got this. Looks like it's compiling, looks like it's working okay. I'm not sure what was wrong with the iOS version. It could be just the packager was being funky because we installed a bunch of stuff. But it looks like everything's good. So I'm gonna call it quits on this video, and then the next one we'll go ahead and continue working on the application, and like I said, start making a sign up and a login page. So I'll see you guys in the next video.